Hey guys, welcome to another, welcome for the first time in 3 years to a normal NCAA tournament March Madness season. I'm excited. Let's do this. We got the selection show starting in about 15 minutes. Hopefully they do it like they did last year and they have all the teams, all 68 teams announced by the half hour and they don't stretch it out. We'll see though. But anyway, everything looks to be pretty locked in. All the automatic bids have been handed out. I have... of course, is it 31 automatic bids? Yeah, no, 32 automatic bids. I have 29 locks. So when you combine that, you have 61 teams. So that means 7 of these 15 teams in this list are going to be in. And I will say that I imagine one of the 12 seeds are going to have 2 of the play-in games, and then one of the 11 seeds are going to have one of the play-in games. So if you're looking to see where bubble teams are going to pop up, it's going to be on the 12, 11, and 10 lines. Last year they did not do this, but usually they announce the 6-11 game last per region, for the suspense. But last year it was the 2 and 15 seed. I hope they go back to announcing the 6-11 matchup last by region. But last year was not a normal year, but I'm excited. Like I said, first time in 3 years we're getting a normal March Madness season. None of this canceling garbage, none of this no fans and socially distanced benches that go all the way up into the stands. Trash. We're going to have a normal March Madness. I'm excited. First time in 3 years. Don't take it for granted. So if you're asking me which of these 7 teams I would put in, some of these bubble teams are more likely than others. I think Indiana should be fine. I think Miami should be fine. But after that, it's anybody's guess. BYU and Dayton are major stretches, but I only put them in there because if you're on more than one bracket in the bracket matrix, I'd put you in. But BYU and Dayton are stretches, so those are probably unrealistic. North Texas, same thing. But the committee has done some weird things in the past, and North Texas would not be the weirdest thing they have done. I think Notre Dame should be fine. Oklahoma's a major stretch. Rutgers is a very interesting case because they have good wins, a bunch of good quad 1 wins. Their problem is their metrics. The net rankings are bad. They have some bad losses. So they're going to be an interesting case to see how much the metrics like net matters, right? San Francisco is like the opposite of Rutgers. San Francisco doesn't really have any good wins, but their metrics are very good. They have like a top 25 net, good strength of schedule. So they're like the anti-Rutgers. SMU, if Richmond and A&M and Indiana and Virginia Tech hadn't made their runs, SMU probably would have sneaked in, but I think they're on the outside looking in. Texas A&M, another interesting case. We'll see how much the committee values finishing the season strong. I remember the committee used to more heavily weight the last 10 games for a team. I don't think they do that anymore. I think they stopped doing that. If that was still the case, A&M would be fine, but we're going to see maybe in the subconscious of the committee voters, though, maybe it matters. But A&M will be an interesting case. What matters more, the overall body of work, which really isn't that strong for Texas A&M, or finishing strong? So we'll see. Wake Forest, I think they're going to be out. And Wyoming, probably the most interesting team on the bubble, in my opinion. Wyoming's a good team, not a great team, but a good team. They faded a bit down the stretch. They were considered as high as like a 7 seed just a couple of weeks ago, but they didn't really finish strong. They had a tough loss at Boise State in the semifinal of the Mountain West tournament. Their metrics are not great, but their metrics are middle of the road. Like everything about Wyoming just screams middle of the road. So I think they're an NCAA worthy team. I do hope they get in, but we'll see. And then Xavier, I think Xavier's out after losing to Butler. So that's how I see the bubble. As far as seeding is concerned, I think it's pretty locked in. Your 1 seeds are going to be Gonzaga. Sorry, I had the hiccups because I ran and then I ate a big bowl of pasta. So still the hiccups kind of. But anyway, I think your 1 seeds are locked in. It's going to be Arizona, Gonzaga, Baylor, and Kansas. And then I think the interesting thing about Baylor or Kansas is that a lot of them are only one of them can get sent to the South region or whatever. What worries them is being shipped east to Philadelphia, and the problem with that Philadelphia subregion is that Villanova would basically play a home game if they're in the East region as a 3 seed or a 2 seed. So I would be very worried about that. But that's one thing I do hate. I hate you got to cross that bridge when you get there. but that's how it is. I think, appreciate it, Matt Stansberry. Glad to see you back. Haven't seen you in a while. TCU gets no further than the Sweet 16. I don't even think we'll get that far. I would be very shocked if we're not in an 8-9 matchup opposite Gonzaga or Arizona. Arizona fans, I was talking to some of them, they do worry about matching up with TCU because we would be bigger than them and would be able to win the rebounding advantage, but I just think Arizona has too much firepower for us to beat them. I think our chances would be better against Gonzaga. I've watched Gonzaga all year. I think that it just feels like they're missing something, right? Last year they seemed pretty unbeatable, but this year, we haven't really, they just seem like something that they're not just a well-oiled machine, and I think they're vulnerable, but I would be very surprised if that's not the case for TCU. I'm not a believer in Gonzaga. I haven't been all year. Duke, we saw the Duke. So it was a good thing I stopped streaming last night because I fell asleep almost immediately on the couch when I stopped streaming. I was just not going to make it. But what was I going to say? I did, wake up to see the Duke-Virginia Tech ending. And Duke, their defense has issues. They have the talent, but if that defense does not get fixed, they have a good chance to lose. They'll be out by next Sunday. Davidson will be in, but they're going to be a double-digit seed. I'm glad for Richmond. I really am. I don't mind bid stealers, especially when they come from leagues like the Atlantic 10, because it pushes out one of these undeserving power conference teams that had plenty of chances to get good wins and everything. So I'm glad Richmond. I was rooting for them. I'm glad they won. Good for them. But Davidson's going to be a double-digit seed. They're going to get in, but it looked like the Atlantic 10 refs are really trying to help Davidson in that game. Another team I'm not a believer in is Murray State, but again, I think they're going to be in the 8-9 game, maybe a 7 seed, but I'm not a believer in them. We'll see how the brackets, like I said yesterday, everything is about matchups. It's all about matchups. So as teams are called, I'm going to erase them from the board, or I'm going to highlight them in yellow, so that way we can keep track of who's been called, who's not, and as more teams get revealed, you can really get a picture of which bubble teams are not going to get in and which teams will. Like last year, I was able to predict the entire final region last year just based on who was remaining. So remember, I don't think the Big Ten is the only exception. I think they might get 9 this year, but in general, it's no more than 2 teams per conference per region. So, if there's 3 Big 12 or Big 10 teams left and only 1 region left, only 2 of them are going to get in. So yeah, I will announce everything as it goes. I have the selection show on. We're going to be starting in 8 minutes. Last year they were very quick. Last year everything was announced by 30 minutes in, and the last 30 minutes of the show is just analysis. That's how they should do it. Don't keep us waiting. I'm sure a lot of you remember 2016 where they stretched it out to 2 hours and really took their time, and then finally someone posted the full bracket online because someone on the inside of CBS is like, screw this, uploaded the full bracket online and kind of spoiled it all. But good, I'm glad that they did that because that is just stupid. Texas Tech is another one of those teams. Do they have the potential to make the Final Four? Yes, but I just feel like their offense is going to stagnate at some point in this tournament, and they are not going to make it. And also, they haven't really played that well away from home this year, so that's another thing against them. Everything's about matchups. Do I have Texas Tech twice? I do. That should be Texas. Thanks for pointing that out. So some years they'll announce all the 1 seeds first, but last year they didn't do that. They just went region by region. But there's going to be no suspense on the 1 seeds. The only suspense is who's going to be the overall number 1 seed. I think Arizona made a good case last night. I think any of them but Baylor could make a case for overall number 1. They're probably going to get to Gonzaga, but I do not think Gonzaga's the best team. I don't. All right. I think your 12 seeds are going to be Richmond, UAB, and South Dakota State. And then one of the 12 seeds are going to be a play-in game. I think your 13 seeds are going to be UT Chattanooga is going to be one, Vermont. One of them probably would have been Princeton, but they lost, unfortunately. New Mexico State will be one. The last 13 seed, Akron. Your 14 seeds are going to be, I'm going with Yale, Longwood, Montana State, and Colgate. My 15 seeds are going to be St. Peter's, Georgia State, CSU Fullerton, and am I missing someone? Huh. I don't know. Delaware. And then your 16 seeds, I think the non-play-in 16 seeds are going to be Norfolk State and Jacksonville State. And then the play-in 16s are going to be Wright State, Bryant, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and Texas Southern. You know, I think Wright State is a strong 16 seed. They could get a 15. You might be right. St. Mary's won't be a 4. UCLA could be a 3. I think St. Mary's has a much better chance to be a 6 than a 4. Let's see. I think the play-in matchups on the 16 line are going to be Wright State versus Wright State's the best one. So they're going to play the worst one, which is A&M Corpus Christi. So Wright State, A&M Corpus Christi, and then Texas Southern and Bryant. Yeah. Wright State is one of those teams that had the talent to be a lot better than they were. They were 4th in the Horizon, but that was mainly because they didn't play an extra game. They had the same number of losses as the first-place team. They just underachieved all year until they got to the conference tournament. All right, I'll answer the Kansas question real quick. I'm going to get more water before we start. Oh, you got to be kidding me. My YouTube TV started to buffer. That never happens. How far do I see Kansas make it? It depends on the matchups. It all depends on matchups. If they face a physical team that can be strong and rebound well, they can be in trouble. Same with Baylor. If Baylor runs into a team that can shoot three-pointers very well, they're in trouble. I would rather watch anything than Pete Buttigieg on 60 Minutes. I would rather watch anything. All right. Here's a bet. Here's a side bet. How long is it going to be until they start releasing teams? How long will they talk about stuff when the show starts here in a couple minutes until they start unveiling teams? As a TCU guy, I hope we play on Thursday, just because most of the people who I want to watch the game with won't be able to make it on Friday. I mean, I'll go down when they release the bracket, I'll go down the line and get my 2 cents. I don't think I'll do an official bracket projection, but I'll definitely do some analysis like I did last year. I think last year I was on the stream for an extra hour after the field was announced, just giving my 2 cents. But like I've said for the past few days, it's all about matchups. Some years they'll announce like all the 1 seeds and go and interview one of the coaches of one of the 1 seeds, and then cut to commercial. But I think the bracket being leaked back in 2016 has made them, hurry it up. Like they don't want that situation to happen again. So I would, like I said, the way they did it last year was fine. All right, it is time. Yep. I remember when I was like younger, on Selection Sunday, I'd always like go around pretending like I was Rafiki and Lion King. It is time. All right, here we go, guys. Why did they just show Louisville? They just showed like a lot of shots of Louisville in that package. All right, it's Clark. It's been Clark, Greg, and Seth since like 2002. These guys have been doing this for 20 years. By the way, TCU didn't have a public watch party. I'm surprised none of the sports grid trolls are in. I mean, I banned one earlier. All right. By the way, Matt Stansberry, a lot of the sports grid trolls text me saying that they're you. Drives me nuts. They're like, hey, it's Matt Stansberry. I know you wouldn't text me because, A, I don't think you have my number, and B, you wouldn't be a loser like that. All right, let's go. All right, they're getting right after it. All right, Gonzaga's the first. They're the overall 1 seed. I don't think they're the best team, but it is what it is, guys. They're in the West region. In Portland. Thursday, Saturday games in Portland. Georgia State. Wow. Okay, I thought they'd be a 15, but that's fine. All right. TCU could wind up in this 8-9 game, guys. Boise State's an 8. Wow. People had them as a 6. That's kind of unfair. Watch them put TCU here. Boise State rivalry in football. Memphis is a 9. All right. I had them as a lock. So we're not opposite Gonzaga. So that means if TCU's in the 8-9 game, we're going to be opposite Arizona. All right, here comes the 5. UConn. I think everyone had them as a 5. This is the games in Buffalo on Thursday and Saturday. This could be a bubble game right here. New Mexico State's a 12. People had them as a 13. Okay, I see how it is. I wonder who they're going to be replaced with. Arkansas. All right, and Buffalo. This could be. I'm going with Vermont. Makes sense. Buffalo. Vermont fans traveled pretty well when they played in Massachusetts in 2005 when they beat Syracuse. Just saying. That'll be a tough game for Arkansas. All right, Friday games, and Alabama's a 6. I think a lot of people had them as a 6. All right, this could be a bubble team right here. Rutgers and Notre Dame. Rutgers got in. Wow. Rutgers got in. Okay, so I guess the metrics didn't end up hurting them. I was kind of hoping Rutgers would be out. No, this is real. This is for real, guys. This is for real. All right, San Diego. This is where UCLA could fall right here. I wouldn't be surprised if UCLA shows up here. Texas Tech. They're going to San Diego. 14 seed. This could be Montana State right here. Montana State, I predicted it. Haha. All right, TCU won't be here because Texas Tech. Friday, Sunday in Greenville. Watch Duke show up here because it's Greenville. Here could a bubble team. Bubble team coming, guys. Unless it's Davidson. Unless this is Davidson. Davidson. I'm good at predicting, guys. I'm a good predictor. Don't doubt my predicting abilities. All right, Duke's going to wind up here because it's Greenville. Duke, yep. Geography can help you predict, and they're going to play. St. Peter's could wind up here. Jacksonville State could come up here. Delaware. I mean, it could be a lot of teams. But I'm going with Delaware as my prediction. Oh, CSU Fullerton. All right. They're sending CSU Fullerton all the way to the other side of the country to go play Duke. Nice. All right, so that's our first region. My initial reaction, Arkansas has a very, very, very tough first-round game, and so does UConn. I would not be surprised if this is a 12-13 matchup in the second round. I think Boise State got screwed as an 8 seed. They should have been higher. I don't think either of those teams could beat Gonzaga, but I was saying this about Memphis yesterday. Memphis is like that Kentucky team back in 2014 that was an 8 seed, but they had the talent of a 1 seed, and then they made it all the way to the final and almost won the title. So Memphis is a team like that. Maybe not as talented as that Kentucky team, but they're a lot better than a 9 seed based on talent. Rutgers and Notre Dame. I think Rutgers probably should have been left out. I think Notre Dame probably should have been in. Montana State is an interesting team. They have depth and they have size. I just wonder if they have enough offensive playmakers to score against a team like Texas Tech. That's probably a tough matchup for them. There are some other teams I think Montana State would have been better against. Michigan State and Davidson. That's an interesting matchup. Davidson definitely has the ability to defeat Michigan State. CSU Fullerton, great defensive energy, but Duke just going to have too much offense for them. I think everybody wants to see a Michigan State-Duke second-round game, but I would not count Davidson out. Davidson definitely has the ability to beat Duke. They do. Like I said, Duke has defensive problems, and Davidson's an efficient offense that can send Mike or Coach K home early in his last ever tournament. But overall, when I see this region, I'm not a believer in Gonzaga. I'm not. And I still would take the field over Gonzaga in this region. Duke has already proven they can beat them. Duke is a good matchup Duke matches up well with Gonzaga. I know, I was asking you about a public watch. I just saw that, Joey Messina. I saw a bunch of people behind TCU. I was like, it must have been for donors only. I'm guessing that's what it was for. You had to be a donor, because I was asking around, and they said they weren't having a public one, so maybe it's just for donors. But like I said, New Mexico State, Vermont, very capable, but I don't think that's just a bad matchup for Montana State, bad matchup for Fullerton. Alabama can definitely lose to the Rutgers Notre Dame winner. Georgia State, not going to beat Gonzaga. No UMBC there. Yeah, I think Boise being an 8 is bad news for Wyoming. I do. Can Michigan get in? Yeah, they can. Yeah, that's tough for Boise State. Not only do they get an 8 seed, but they got probably the best 9 seed. Where do I think Creighton's going to be? I think they're going to be 8, 9, or 10 somewhere. I could see them being an 8 or 9 opposite Kansas or Baylor in Fort Worth. Where's Wisconsin going? I could see them being a 2 or 3. Yeah, that Vermont-Arkansas game. Yeah, this is live, Tyler. This is live, guys. This is live. Maybe I should put a thing up here. I'm going to put this live. So, Indiana, if they get in, is probably going to be a 10, 11. But the next region is going to be Baylor's region, unless, yeah, if they're doing the bracket in order, this is going to be Baylor's region. So this is going to be Thursday, Saturday games. Davidson should have been a 10 seed. I mean, I could have seen them as an 11. There's going to be a 12-12 play-in featuring the other two bubble teams. Auburn's going to probably be a 2 or 3 seed. Man, this chat's moving fast. I think we're going to get Baylor's region next. They're going fast. Upper white quad, so Arizona. I'm going to put them over here. They're going to be playing in San Diego Friday, Sunday games. This is where TCU is going to wind up in the 8-9 game, guys. If TCU doesn't show up in this 8-9, we're going to be a 7 seed. I don't think Oklahoma's going to get in. This is going to be a play-in game. Wright State, they matched up Wright State and Bryant well, so that means A&M Corpus Christi and Texas Southern are going to be matched up. TCU is going to wind up here, almost certain. Almost certain. If we don't, we're a 7 seed, which is good. Seton Hall. Here comes TCU. I'm calling it right now, TCU. If we're not here, we're a 7 seed, and I'm glad. Because they're not going to put us opposite Kansas or Baylor. TCU, told you guys. Man, we're opposite Arizona. Told you guys. Told you guys. I think we can beat Seton Hall, but Arizona will be very tough. Arizona will be very tough. Friday, Sunday games. We got Houston as a 5. This could be a play-in game right here. UAB, that's a tough matchup for Houston, guys. UAB is good. Who could this 4 seed be? Pittsburgh? Illinois. I'm calling... who could this be? Chattanooga is my call. Yep. I'm good predicting. I'm good at predicting. All right. So I guess they are going to end on a 2-15 like last year. So we got another bubble team coming up, guys. Yeah, Chattanooga's a great defensive team. I think Porter Moser went to Oklahoma because he got wind of the SEC. Colorado State's a 6, so that does bode well for Wyoming. Here comes a bubble team. Here comes a bubble team. Or it could be a play-in round. Michigan got in. Dang it. I was hoping they'd be left out. All right, 3 seed and Purdue's not going to play in Indianapolis, will they? Would they put Purdue in Indianapolis? Tennessee. I am calling Longwood here. I'm going with Longwood. Longwood. I'm a good predictor. I'm a good predictor. I don't think Xavier will get in. I'm not watching the chat right now, guys. I'll look at it when they're done with this region. We got Friday, Sunday games. Ohio State. We got a 10 seed coming. This is going to be a bubble team, maybe. I mean, Loyola could wind up here as an auto bid. I am a good predictor. Guys, stop doubting my predictive abilities. All right, this is Pittsburgh. Villanova could wind up here. Yep. They're in the South region, though. They didn't put Villanova in the East region, so they can't play in Philadelphia. This is going to be St. Peter's, I think. Like, maybe Delaware. Oh, Delaware. Okay. All right. So I'm going to, my quick reaction here. You know, obviously me being a TCU guy, we could beat Seton Hall, but that's a tough matchup. UAB is good. Chattanooga is good. I mean, this is another region where I could see it being a 12-13 second-round matchup. I could. Colorado, Michigan. Michigan, something's wrong with them. I think Colorado State's good enough to beat them. Tennessee will beat Longwood. Longwood's not going to beat Tennessee. Loyola's probably going to beat Ohio State. Delaware's not going to beat Villanova. So I have, Arizona will make the Sweet 16. This is any of these, I could see any of these four teams making the Sweet 16, but I think Arizona will make the Elite Eight. Tennessee, if Rick Barnes can't make it to the Sweet 16 this year, that'll be disappointing because they got a very favorable draw. Villanova won't lose to Loyola or Ohio State. So Arizona, Tennessee, Villanova is going to be your 3 or 4. And then honestly, you could make a case for any of these 4 teams, but it doesn't matter. I think chalk will hold here. It's going to be Arizona, Villanova in the Elite Eight. So this is probably going to be a pretty chalky region right here. Arizona, Villanova. And I think Villanova can beat Arizona. A lot of people are like Arizona's a national title contender, like favorite for be a title contender after last night, but I wouldn't count out Villanova. I know they look vulnerable in the Big East tournament, but they can match up with Arizona. Tennessee, I mean, it depends on what Tennessee fans want. The thing about Rick Barnes is that everyone says he can't win in March, but he has a very favorable draw to get to the Sweet 16. But is Sweet 16 good enough? Does that get that monkey off his back? It didn't in 2019. Will the Elite Eight be good enough? That's what I want to know. Anyway. Yeah, Wright State or Bryant will. Bryant would get destroyed by Arizona. Wright State would put up a better fight, but they would still get destroyed. Yeah, Delaware's not going to beat Villanova. Yeah, Loyola is going to make the second round, I think, but they're not going to go farther. Villanova is a tough matchup. Gosh, yeah. I want Tennessee to go deep because I think Rick Barnes deserves to go deep. And they got a Sweet 16. Like, the red carpet's out for them. Yeah, Boise is an 8, but CSU is a 6. Even though Boise State won the regular season Mountain West title and the conference tournament title, like, what's up with that? What's up with that? And San Diego State hasn't been called yet, so if San Diego State doesn't show up in this upcoming region, and neither does Wyoming, then Wyoming's going to be out. Yeah, Colorado State did accomplish more in non-conference, and I think they had better metrics too. Yeah, I think this is better because people can actually see who's been called and who hasn't. But I put Arizona over here because they're the 2 seed, and so they're going to be matched up with this bracket and then this bracket. So I can pretty much fill this in. I think this is going to be Baylor, and I think this is going to be Kansas. The bottom half of Arizona's bracket? No, I think Villanova's they might be the best 2 seed. Villanova. But I do think Arizona has a pretty easy path to the Elite Eight. I do. Yeah, Davidson can make the Sweet 16. I agree with Andre Diaz-Rice. I really do. Yep. I mean, all these 5-12 and 4-13 matchups so far are great matchups. I'm not high on the 14 seeds though. Like Montana State could have beaten a Tennessee, but they can't beat a Texas Tech. And Longwood could have beaten a Texas Tech, but they can't beat a Tennessee. Yeah, that Chattanooga is going to be a tough out for Illinois. Thoughts on A&M getting in? How many SEC teams have been called? 1, 2, 3. They could still be in. It'll be close. Yep, so we got Kansas's region. This is going to be, I mean, this could be another play-in game, or it could be Norfolk State. This is either going to be Norfolk State or a play-in game. See, the Kansas reaction right there is a reaction of a team that gets in every year. Yep. I told you guys that was going to be the other first four. All right, I could see Creighton winding up here. San Diego State is in. So, I mean, Wyoming should be in if this is where they're seeding the Mountain West teams, but yeah, I told you guys Creighton was going to show up there. That's an interesting matchup. Two completely contrasting styles. Iowa's a 5. This could be a play-in game right here. Wyoming can't show up here, though. If this is a play-in game, Wyoming's out. Richmond. So Wyoming's still alive. I think that was great news for Wyoming right there. Where's Richmond? Good for them. Two more contrasting styles. Providence is a very vulnerable 4 seed, guys. If this is South Dakota State, I think South Dakota State could be, or Akron. It's going to be South Dakota State or Akron. South Dakota State. That's going to be a very popular upset pick just because Providence has such bad metrics and South Dakota State is on like a 20-game win streak. That's going to be a very popular upset pick. But the popular upset pick usually doesn't win. LSU. Here comes a bubble team. Milwaukee. Gosh, this could be Indiana right here. It's not going to be A&M. Iowa State's an 11. Wow. Wow. Wisconsin is playing in Milwaukee. Good luck. Good luck with that, guys. Wisconsin and Milwaukee. But this is going to be Yale. This could be Yale or... I think this is going to be Yale. If it's Yale, that's a really bad matchup for Yale. Colgate. Okay, that's... Colgate can beat Wisconsin. I don't think Yale could, but Colgate can beat Wisconsin. I'm saying that right now. That's not a good matchup for Wisconsin. North Carolina's going to show up here, opposite USC, I think. If they put North Carolina here, that's BS. I'm saying it right now. If they put North Carolina and Greenville opposite USC, that's BS. Virginia Tech should show. Oh, Miami. Okay, Miami got in. I don't think that was a surprise. I think a lot of people are. But only 4 bubble teams have been called so far. This is going to be Auburn, maybe. No, not with LSU there. This could be Purdue. No, Purdue's going to be in Indianapolis. It's Auburn. Okay, they did put Auburn there. Okay. Even though LSU's already there. Okay. This is going to be St. Peter's or Jacksonville State. This is going to be St. Peter's or Jacksonville State. It's Jacksonville State. All right. All right, before I give analysis, I'm going to fill in the rest of the bracket for you guys. So Baylor is going to be opposite Norfolk State right here. I think Kentucky will be your 2. Purdue or Kentucky could be the 2 seed, but I think this is going to be St. Peter's right here. We got Yale as a 14 seed, and then we're going to Akron as the 13. We're going to have 2 bubble teams right here. But Purdue or Kentucky, I mean, interchangeable, really. These are going to be Thursday, Saturday games in Fort Worth, by the way. Marquette, North Carolina, I think is going to be your 8-9. I just don't know which order they're going to be in. Virginia Tech still hasn't been called. I think they're going to be your 11 seed or maybe 10. UCLA is probably going to be the 4. So UCLA Akron's going to be your 4-13. I mean, a lot of these are interchangeable. I mean, Texas could be a 6 or a 5. St. Mary's could be a 5 or 6. Virginia Tech could be a 10 or 11. North Carolina could be a 10 or 11 or 8 or not. Like, these are all interchangeable. So I can't fill in the bracket like much more than that. I can't. So I'm going to break down Kansas's region. There's not going to be a 16-1 upset. Just common sense, David Parkus. I know how bracketing works. Let's look at how many teams per conference are remaining. So Wyoming could be in because all the Mountain West teams are in other regions. We still have Baylor and Texas, so Oklahoma's out, guys. Oklahoma's out. Memphis and Houston haven't called, so SMU can still be in play. Kentucky. So if A&M's going to be in, it's going to be right here because Kentucky's going to be down here. San Francisco's in trouble unless St. Mary's is a 6. Purdue. Any Big Ten team's going to be up here. So if Indiana's in, they're going to be up here. They're going to be in the 12 game if they get in. Let's see. Marquette hasn't been called, and I think they're in the 8-9 game. So unfortunately, Xavier's out. Virginia Tech and North Carolina is bad news for Wake Forest. So Wake Forest is out. Purdue. So Indiana's going to be a 12 seed if they get in. If they get in. I think BYU and Dayton are out. Like, let's be real. Like, BYU can't get in if St. Mary's is still on the board. So I'm going to eliminate them. So only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 3 of these teams are going to be in. 3 of these teams will get in. So Indiana, I think it's going to be Indiana, San Francisco, A&M, and Wyoming. So one of those 4 teams are out. The question is which one? The question is which one? Marquette. Like, I think once we know the 8-9 game, we'll know because that'll dictate everything. So one of Indiana, San Francisco, A&M, and Wyoming are out. North Texas isn't going to get in, but Marquette's going to be in the 8-9 game. I just don't know whether they're going to be an 8 or 9 and who they're playing. I mean, Akron and Yale could flip. St. Peter's and Yale could flip, but I don't see it happening. Yep. San Francisco could be out. If St. Mary's is the 5, San Francisco is out, guys. All right, Baylor and Norfolk, no surprise. But the 8-9 is going to give us a lot of insight of who it could eliminate somebody. All right, here. This is big. This is a big 8-9 reveal right here. I'm guessing Marquette and North Carolina. I'm guessing Marquette 8, North Carolina 9. That's my guess. Murray State maybe. North Carolina 8. So, are there any ACC teams left? No. Virginia Tech has to show up as a 10 or 11 then. Yeah, Marquette, no surprise. I told you guys. All right, so if Marquette is there, yeah. Oh, San Francisco's out. Unless they're in 11. Unless San Francisco's in 11, they're out. So San Francisco's only help is to be at 11 or 10. Here's where Wyoming will show up. If Wyoming's not here, they're out. Wyoming got in! Yes! Wyoming got in. Thank God. Thank God. Yes. They deserved it. They deserved it. All right, so that means it's going to come down to Texas A&M or San Francisco for the 11th seed. It's coming down to A&M or San Francisco. All right, Wyoming deserved it. They deserved it. I'm telling you. Don't complain. Don't complain. That means San Francisco. I don't think A&M's going to get in. I think A&M's out. San Francisco or A&M. So I think we can eliminate Dayton, North Texas, and SMU. So it's coming down to San Francisco or A&M. Whether Virginia Tech's an 11 or 10, I think Virginia Tech's going to be a 10. So, all right. I mean, I knew, like, I called this before they did because I'm smart. You guys are ahead of the curve by watching the stream. All right, here we go. It's not going to be A&M. They would not put A&M here. They would not put A&M opposite Texas. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't put A&M opposite Texas. Don't do it, committee. They would not do that. Oh, Virginia Tech. I swear. Okay, so Virginia Tech is a all right, I think I can call it now. All right, San Francisco's out. Murray State's a 10. Or wait. All right. Yale is your 3. Purdue is your Purdue and Yale, Kentucky and St. Peter's, and then Texas and Murray State. Texas and Murray State is your 7-10 game. A&M is out. San Francisco did not get in. Wow. San Francisco, their metrics were so good. Wow. 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 Oh, so Texas is a 10. Or wait, no, wait, my bad. I'm not paying attention, guys. Maybe A&M is in. I'm lost. I'm lost, guys. I might have jumped the gun a little bit, but I kind of, yeah, SFN, San Francisco did get in. A&M didn't get in. So A&M had to win today. So A&M didn't get in. A&M, oof. And that's everybody, guys. Yeah, I meant to, wow. Wow. All right, so, guys. All right, so I'm going to break down this region. I'm breaking down this region. I'm going to break down this region. All right. North Carolina, if they can make it to Baylor, will be a tough matchup for Baylor because Baylor's 2 weaknesses, rebounding, defensive rebounding, and three-pointers. North Carolina will be able to rebound. Can they hit the threes? I don't know. But I think Baylor is a good team. I do. I think the winner of Wyoming and I don't think Wyoming can beat St. Mary's, but I think Indiana can. Akron is good, but so is UCLA. Your best 4 seed, and honestly, the worst 13 seed, but that's still a good 13 seed in Akron. All of these 13 seeds are good. I think Virginia Tech's going to lose to Texas, and here's why. Texas plays defense. Yale will not beat Purdue. And honestly, San Francisco, I think, will beat Murray State. St. Peter's, no chance against Kentucky. Like, St. Peter's has a great defense, but offensively they have issues. So Kentucky's going to make it to the Sweet 16. Purdue's going to make it to the Sweet 16. That'll be a great Purdue, Kentucky in the Sweet 16. I want to see that. I hope it happens. I think UCLA has a pretty easy path to the Sweet 16. So this is going to be your chalk region right here. Baylor versus UCLA, Purdue versus Kentucky. Purdue and Kentucky is a literal coin flip. And I think UCLA is one of the teams that can beat Baylor that early. But, gosh, this is a tough region to predict. Wow. Any of the seeds 1 through 4, St. Peter's is in the MAAC, but any of the seeds 1 through 4 can win this region. You can make a case for any of them. That's a tough region. That's a tough region. So Dayton was the first team out. A&M was number 4. So Dayton was the team that got bumped for Richmond. I'm fine with that. So Wyoming was the last team in. So, wow, this is a tough region. Any of those top 4 teams can win it. Like I said about North Carolina, they rebound, but can they hit threes? I think Baylor's just too good. So sorry, North Carolina fans. Wow, that's gonna. If I'm hoping that chalk plays out in that region. Yeah, red is out, yellow's in. But I hope that chalk plays in this region because Baylor, UCLA, and Texas, Virginia Tech would be awesome. Or Purdue and Kentucky. My bad. So, like, very quick bracket predictions. So, obviously Gonzaga. Hope you guys can see this. Gonzaga, Memphis. I mean, UConn, Vermont. This is just like initial reactions. Notre Dame, Texas Tech. Hang on. And then Davidson and Duke. And then over here, I'm just making like very quick initial reaction predictions. Baylor, North Carolina, Indiana, UCLA, Texas, Purdue, San Francisco, Kentucky, Kansas, San Diego State, Iowa, South Dakota State, LSU, Wisconsin. Colgate can beat them though. USC and Auburn. And then finally, Arizona. I mean, I'm going to be a homer and pick TCU. I'll be a homer. Wow, I want to pick UAB, but I'm going to go with Houston, Illinois, Colorado State, Tennessee, Loyola, and Villanova. 785, geez, that was as much as I had last year. All right, so those are my first round initial gut reaction picks. And then from there, I'm going with, hang on. I probably should have like another place to do this, but this is total. And then I would pick Gonzaga. I think I would pick, let's go with Vermont, Cinderella run, Vermont. Texas Tech, Davidson could win, but I'm going with Duke. Baylor, UCLA, Purdue, Kentucky, chalk. USC, Wisconsin's going to be tough to beat in Milwaukee. Iowa and Kansas, and then Arizona, Houston, Tennessee, and Villanova. That's my Sweet 16 right there. I mean, initial gut reaction, Sweet 16. Pretty chalky. I mean, I picked Vermont and USC, I guess, so not complete chalk. And then out of my Sweet 16, my Elite 8 is going to be, so here I'm going to put the Elite 8 over here. Sorry, guys. My Elite 8. I'm all over the place, guys. My Elite 8, Gonzaga will beat Vermont. And then I think Duke will beat Texas Tech. Man, that's such a hard matchup, Baylor and UCLA. That is hard, but I'm going to go with Baylor and Purdue. And then Kansas beats Iowa. I think USC beats Wisconsin. And then Arizona beats Houston, and Villanova beats Tennessee. And then my final four, this is just total gut reactions, guys. It's going to be Duke, Purdue, Kansas, and Villanova. And then I think Purdue beats Duke, and Kansas beats Villanova. And I'm going with Kansas over Purdue as my champ right now. Kansas. Those are my initial gut reaction picks. All right, let me catch up with the chat. Tennessee versus Texas Tech National Championship. That would be fun. But I think Texas Tech, that's a tough region for them. They got two pretty, I mean, you know, I'm not going to be a complete chalk guy, so I'm going to pick Vermont. You know, just Auburn. Yeah, that's why I have Auburn going out to USC in the second round. Yeah, I do think Texas A&M got screwed. I probably would have put them in over Rutgers. I don't know. I think people are sleeping, but I think Duke got a favorable region. Like the teams that would give Duke trouble, Texas Tech is not one. I think Davidson is a tougher matchup for Duke than Texas Tech. I'm high on USC because I think people are sleeping on them, and they got a favorable draw. I did see the Purdue game. I know they lost, but I've been saying this all year, guys. Purdue is too deep at every position. They have a lot of good players, and they're going to be a tough matchup. I watch enough Arkansas to know that Vermont's going to be tough. Which seeds outside the 1 seeds do I think will go farthest? Yeah, like I said, I mean, my Final Four only has one seed, Kansas. The lines don't come out for a while. They're going to probably come out in the next hour. I do agree, Davidson can beat Duke. Which seeds outside of the 1 seeds are strongest? Villanova, Kentucky. It's all about matchups, though. So I think Duke got a very favorable draw. They match up very well with Texas Tech. In Arkansas or Gonzaga, they've already beaten Gonzaga, and Arkansas is going to have a very hard time getting to the point where they can play Duke. Who beats Gonzaga? I think Duke will beat. If it's Duke Gonzaga, Duke will beat them. If anybody other than Duke gets to Gonzaga, I think Texas Tech can beat Gonzaga. I mean, I could see Davidson making a run, guys. Yeah, I don't think Michigan should have got in. I think my issue is Michigan should be out. I probably would have left out Michigan for sure. I think the lines... Sorry, I had the hiccups a little bit. I think the betting lines will come out in an hour. I did watch Arizona last night. I think they're a good team, which is why I would rather, as a TCU fan, I would have rather been opposite Gonzaga than opposite Arizona. We got a tough matchup. I mean, Seton Hall's good too. I mean, I'm going to look at Seton Hall's stats. Hang on. I don't know much about Seton Hall, so let me look at them. I might do some videos. We'll see. I just don't know enough about Seton Hall, guys. No, I just ate a lot before coming on camera. So Bart Torvik is down, so I'm going to have to use this. So Seton Hall, 11-8, 21-10 record. They got some seniors. What are they good at? That's the thing. Are they good at rebounding? So it looks like they're a good rebounding team. That's what TCU's strength is, rebounding. Do they force a lot of turnovers? They kind of do. I mean, they're in the top third in the country. I mean, I think we can beat Seton Hall. We'll see, though. What are they ranked on KenPom? I know we're like 38. So our matchup with Seton Hall is very even. Very even. I mean, they're the 75th offense, we're the 80th offense. They're the 26th defense, we're the 24th defense. I mean, their tempo is 162, we're 244. I mean, very even matchup. I mean, Princeton has no one to blame but themselves for losing this morning. Kind of bummed that Bart Torvik is down because I kind of want to see. But, I mean, we are very evenly matched with Seton Hall. All right, here we go. Where's Seton Hall? Oh, we're ahead of Seton Hall on this site. Offensive rebounding. So defensive rebounding percentage, they are 222nd. And we're number 3 in offensive rebounding percentage, so that's a good sign. Turnover percentage, they are middle of the packet. So this might not be a bad matchup for us. Why do I see Vermont going a ways? I do too. I see Vermont going pretty far. BYU didn't get picked. Selection show's over. They are not picked. Yeah, I think Davidson has a... Davidson got a... They have a path. Davidson has a path to at least the Sweet 16. Do I think it'll happen? No, but they have a path. Yeah, the official bracket's out. This is it. Does Gonzaga have a better theoretical chance against Duke this time around? Yes, because there's more film on Duke this time. More film. Murray State, yeah, but Murray State is... Kentucky has ducked Murray State all these years. They're in the same state, and if Murray State wants their crack at Kentucky, they need to beat San Francisco, and I think San Francisco's better than Murray State. Vermont in the first UConn in the second round, I could see that happening. That would be a rematch of a 2004 NCAA tournament first round game. Yeah, I think UCLA probably should have been I think they should have been a 3 over Texas Tech, but that's just me. Vermont has a very good... Vermont has a good starting 5, but I agree with the person earlier, so they don't have any depth. Yeah, BYU's out. Man. But yeah, I think the committee overall did a pretty good job. I mean, Michigan, I would have probably put in I just don't know if any of these teams, the teams that got left out really had that much of a case over Michigan, though. Yeah, Tennessee is definitely a Final Four sleeper. Although they got Arizona and Villanova, I think they got the best 2 seed to deal with. I think Villanova's the best 2 seed, and they got the second best 1 seed. So, but I do. That's tough. Yeah, we'll have to see. This is going to be a fun tournament. I mean, a lot of compelling first-round matchups, a lot of potential compelling second-round matchups. I mean, just looking at potential second-round matchups, Michigan State and Duke would be fun. Davidson could crash the party. Baylor and North Carolina would be fun. I think Murray State and Kentucky, if it happens, would be an interesting angle. I think Iowa and South Dakota State would be a fun matchup. I wouldn't sleep on LSU, though. I think they'll beat Iowa State. Yeah. Thoughts on a St. Mary's UCLA matchup? I think St. Mary's is not that good. I don't think they're that good. UCLA, I think, would be able to easily beat them. No, I didn't think BYU was going to get in. Can I do a quick analysis of the play-in games? Tyler Lenchuk, I'm about to ban you. Rutgers and Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame in that game, although Rutgers is playing pretty well. Tyler Lenchuk, I'm banning you. Wyoming and Indiana. Indiana's going to... Wyoming, they're a good team, and I'm glad they got in. I think they should have got in, but the problem is that their entire offense revolves around 2 guys. And honestly, Indiana could run a triangle and 2 against them or double team Graham Ike, and Wyoming just didn't have 3 other guys that can really pick up the slack. But we'll see what happens. That's going to be Tuesday night. A&M, Corpus Christi, and Texas Southern. Texas Southern is the better team. I think they'll win. And then Wright State and Bryant, I think Wright State will win that game. Yep. So those are my first 4 picks. Wright State, Texas Southern, Indiana, and Notre Dame. I'm not a believer in Murray State, but I do think they would be motivated to play Kentucky, but I don't think they're going to get past San Francisco. Yeah, I think UCLA just has too much firepower for a St. Mary's. Arkansas versus Vermont. I mean, Vermont is good. They're playing very well. Arkansas is a weird team. They could lose that game, but they could also make it to the Elite 8. Arkansas can make the Final Four out of this region. I think UConn or New Mexico State. I don't know. Yeah, New Mexico State's good. I think they could. I banned Tyler Lenchuk because he's part of the Sports Grid idiots. All right. What do you think about Arizona all the way? It can happen, but they got a pretty tough 2 seed to deal with. But fortunately, Villanova's not playing in Philadelphia. No, I think Virginia Tech is... Texas is a bad matchup for Virginia Tech. Yeah, I like New Mexico State against UConn. I really do. I think this is the year New Mexico State finally gets it done. Thoughts on A&M not making it? I mean, who would you put them in ahead of? Michigan is the only team I think that A&M belonged ahead of. Does Indiana have a good shot against UCLA? No. Would Montana State have beaten Tennessee? No. The only 3 seed that I think Montana State could have beaten was Wisconsin. Like, Montana State's a deep team, and they have size, but I just don't know if they have enough playmakers out on the guard position. Murray State, UNC. I would have swapped North Carolina and Murray State, yes. What's my thoughts on San Diego State? I mean, San Diego State and Creighton, two very contrasting styles. That's an interesting matchup. Very interesting matchup. Wow. San Diego State has the best defense in the country. Creighton has a very good offense. It doesn't really matter, though. I don't think either of those teams can beat Kansas. So flip a coin. Arkansas can lose in the first round, and they can make the Final Four, and everything in between. Tennessee might beat Villanova. They could, yes. Murray State over UNC. I mean, are you talking about as a seed? Because those teams aren't going to play in the Elite Eight. No, I probably think Murray State at the 7 line is fair. South Dakota State, that's going to be the most popular upset pick in the first round is going to be South Dakota State over Providence, just because Providence metrics are so bad, and South Dakota State's on a massive win streak, and they're pretty good. But usually the most obvious upset pick doesn't end up happening. I think Providence is going to hear all week about how South Dakota State's going to beat them, blah, blah, blah. They're going to hear it all week. So Providence is going to be motivated. But the problem with South Dakota State is even if they advance, then Iowa's going to be waiting for them. And Iowa's pretty much like a South Dakota State on steroids. They play the same style. Boise and Memphis. Boise State's a very good fundamental team. Memphis has a lot of talent. So what do you think is going to win out? Fundamentals or talent? What do you value more? Yeah, Richmond is a good story. I'm glad they got in, but Iowa's a buzzsaw. Richmond could have beaten any of the other five seeds, but I think Richmond's going to be tough for them. Or Iowa's going to be tough for them. Yeah, that is Purdue's downfall is their defense. I mean, they're too deep at every position. They have a good playmakers, but defense will be their downfall. Any chance a team seeded lower than 4 making the Final Four? I like that question. You know what? I think Iowa has if they can get by Kansas, I think Iowa at the 5 seed can make it. If there's a 6 seed I was going to pick to go to the Final Four, I don't think any of those 6 seeds can make it. No, that's a weak lineup of 6 seeds. The thing with the 6 seeds, though, is that the 11 seed lineup is even worse. Like, those 11 seeds are all terrible. But the 6 seeds aren't good either. I mean, the 7s and 10s are better. I think Davidson can... If somebody can knock out Gonzaga before the Elite Eight, I think Davidson can make it as a 10. Michigan State can make it a Final Four out of the 7. And USC... I think USC can make the Final Four as a 7th seed. Ohio State's not going to. Any 8-9 teams make the Final Four? No. Out of all of them, though, I think Memphis would have the best chance. Is there a double-digit seed that can make the Final Four? Like I said, I think Davidson has a path. But that's it. Davidson's the only double-digit seed I can make a case for right now to make the Final Four. So there you go. Yes, I think Texas got a very good first-round matchup, but the rest of their draw sucks. No, the Golden Retrievers didn't get in. They lost yesterday. Wow, this chat's moving so fast. I'm trying to catch up. Kentucky to the Final Four, I think... The chance of them beating both Purdue and Baylor is going to be very tough. But they can make it. I'm trying to catch up with the chat. Do I think Chattanooga can beat Illinois? Yes, but they need to. They're going to have to do it by keeping the game in the 50s, maybe the 60s. Vermont, Arkansas, I can see it happening. I already said that. UCLA, Baylor, break down the matchup. I want to see that matchup. I'm hoping that there's no upsets and that happens. That will be a fun game, but I think Baylor ultimately is more physical, and I'm not sure if UCLA can beat a physical team like that. What I think about St. Peter's and Kentucky, I mean, St. Peter's, great defense, but they don't have any offensive playmakers at all. Their offense is not good. That's going to be a 20-plus point blowout. Rutgers or Notre Dame? Rutgers has more play. It's kind of like Boise State and Memphis. Rutgers has more playmakers, but Notre Dame is more fundamental. What do you care about more? Do I think Chattanooga can make a run? Yes. If they can beat Illinois, they can make the Sweet 16. But ultimately, Arizona will be lurking, and that will be the end of that. I mean, if Seton Hall or TCU can upset Arizona, then yes, Chattanooga can make the Elite Eight. But as a TCU fan, I don't see us beating Arizona if we make it to the second round. Yeah, Tennessee is disrespected. I agree. Houston or Iowa? In regards of what exactly? Thoughts on Alabama's chance? Yeah, I haven't really talked much about Alabama. They are a strange team. They have the talent to be so much better than they are. But they also have the downside to lose to Rutgers or Notre Dame. But I don't see them getting by Texas Tech. Jacksonville State against Auburn. You know what? If I was going to pick a 15/2, it would be that one. Jacksonville State could have been. They're a decent team, guys. And Ray Harper has been here before as the coach of Jacksonville State. Thoughts on a Duke Michigan State second round game? It's a game Michigan State can win. It is a game Michigan State can win, but ultimately I think Duke won't lose that game. What's the farthest UNC will go? They can beat Baylor. I mean, they could make it as far as the Elite Eight, but they're not going to beat Purdue or Kentucky. What do I think about Arkansas? They can lose in the first round. They can make the Final Four and everything in between. They probably have the highest ceiling and lowest floor of any team. Baylor Shireman is going to be heavily guarded by Providence. I can tell you that. Virginia Tech is underrated. I mean, that's the thing. Virginia Tech's going to cool off, and they're playing. Texas matches up very well with Virginia Tech. That's the problem. How far do I think New Mexico State can go? They can make it to the Sweet 16. They can. Absolutely.
You don't think it's already done that?
I think this is the year they get it. I have them beating UConn. I think this is the year they finally advance to the second round. Duke will be getting all the whistles. I agree. UCLA, what's their team about? I mean, they returned everyone from last year pretty much, and they're very talented. I think the one thing that they are weak at is they're not a physical team. So a team like Baylor can really bang them around. Yeah. Here, let me do that for you. Virginia Tech can beat Texas. I don't think so. What point spreads would be surprising to you? So if I was coming with spreads with these games, I actually think Providence and South Dakota State is going to be 5 points or less. UAB, yeah. UAB would have been matched up well with UConn and St. Mary's, not so much Houston. UAB is going to be a popular upset pick, but I don't think they'll beat Houston. Baylor first 1 seed to lose. Which 1 seed do I think will lose first? Gonzaga, only because Memphis would be a problem. Baylor could lose to North Carolina. They won't lose to Marquette. I don't see Kansas losing to either of these teams, and Arizona won't lose to either of these teams. I have Memphis over Boise because I just think Memphis is better than their seed. Already talked about Chattanooga, but I'll say it again. I think they can beat Illinois, and I think they can beat Houston, but it'll be tough. Chattanooga's strengths are defense, defense, defense. Realistically, do I see Arkansas going Sweet 16? But they have New Mexico State and Vermont are tough matchups for them. Scott K., I remember your UCLA future from last year. Will I do brackets? We'll see. Not sure Michigan earned their bid. Yeah. Michigan could absolutely beat Colorado State, but that's an interesting matchup. Do I think Auburn will be knocked out early? Yes, I do. UConn plays in Buffalo. They'll have a huge fan base there, yeah. But I think Vermont will have more fans than Arkansas there too. And then the crowd's going to pull for Vermont against Arkansas. You got to remember the nonpartisan fans in these crowds will pull for the underdog. So Arkansas is playing a basic virtual road game. Why do I think A&M didn't make the tournament? Bad non-conference schedule, and they made a run in the SEC tournament, but which of the teams they beat, they beat Arkansas, they beat Auburn. Their resume just wasn't good enough going in. Like, they weren't even on any bubble watch or anything before the SEC tournament. I don't think Gonzaga will lose to Memphis, no, but it can happen. UNC Marquette, I think North Carolina is the better team there. Longwood's an interesting team. Longwood relies a lot on three-pointers. You never know with a team like that. If they make enough threes. I just think Tennessee has too much going on. But yeah, Longwood's not a bad 14 seed. Point spread predictions, all right. I think Gonzaga is going to be favored by about 22 over Georgia State. I think Memphis will be -2 over Boise State. UConn probably -7. Arkansas and Vermont. Arkansas and Vermont. I could see Arkansas only being like an 8-point favorite, maybe 7. Alabama depends on who they play. Texas Tech will probably be like a 12.5-point favorite. Michigan State and Davidson's going to be very close. Michigan -1 maybe. Duke will probably be -18 over Cal State Fullerton. Baylor's going to be probably at 25 points or more over Norfolk. North Carolina, I think, will be probably -3 over Marquette. St. Mary's would be favored pretty decently over Wyoming, probably like a -7. Indiana would be closer, but St. Mary's probably -1. UCLA is probably going to be -13 or so against Akron. Texas and Virginia Tech. That could be a very close spread. Texas -2. Purdue probably -15 over Yale. I think San Francisco will be favored over Murray. Kentucky over St. Peter's, probably Kentucky -22 or so. Kansas will be 30-point favorites over either of these teams. San Diego State, probably a 3-point favorite over Creighton. By the way, turn off the CBS 48 Hours propaganda. I just turned it off. Iowa and Richmond. Wow. Where's Richmond at? Richmond and Iowa. I think Iowa's going to be a double-digit favorite over Richmond. Providence and South Dakota State. Probably Providence -4, maybe -3. LSU will probably be favored by about 4 or 5. Wisconsin and Colgate. I would say Wisconsin will probably be favored by about 14. USC and Miami. USC is probably going to be favored by about 6. Auburn and Jacksonville State. Where's Auburn at on the metrics? Auburn probably -15 or so. Arizona will be, if Arizona plays Bryant, they'll probably be favored by 30 or so. If they play Wright State, it'll probably be, they'll be a 28-point favorite over Wright State, 30-point favorite over Bryant. TCU and Seton Hall is probably going to be a pick'em. Houston and UAB. Houston will be favored by about probably 7. Illinois and Chattanooga. I would say Illinois -8, maybe -6. Colorado State and Michigan. I think Michigan's actually going to be favored in that game, maybe by 2. Tennessee and Longwood. Where's Tennessee at? I think Tennessee -17. Ohio State and Loyola. Loyola is going to be favored. Or no, that'll probably be a pick'em. And then Villanova and Delaware, I'd say Villanova -18. So there you go. How do I feel about Dayton not making it? I'm surprised they got that close. I'm surprised they were the first team out. Yeah, UK and St. Peter's defense is very good, but they don't have enough firepower, even if they hold Kentucky to 40 or 50. I don't think San Francisco beating Murray State will be an upset because San Francisco is number 20 in the metrics and Murray State is number 38. San Francisco is going to be favored. Can I see Auburn getting knocked out early? Yes. My big underdog going far right now is Vermont. Yeah, Iona would have been a 12 seed, so it would have pushed. If Iona got in, they would have probably pushed New Mexico State to the 13 line, and then probably Akron would have been bumped to the 14. You probably would have seen Longwood or Colgate bumped to the 15. And then, yeah. I mean, I kind of made a bracket already. That's what these green things are. And then my Elite Eight's over here. Final Four's over here. If I had to, gun to my head, pick a 16 seed, I would pick Wright State. Because I think they're the best team in terms of talent for a 16 seed. I think Norfolk State's pretty well coached. But in terms of like ability and upside, Wright State has it. All these 1 seeds are pretty good. It's not going to happen this year. I think all of those 116 games are going to be 20-point or more blowouts. Yeah, you could have probably swapped Georgia State and Jacksonville State, but over the years, you've really seen the committee value conference championships when it comes to seeding, and that's why Georgia State didn't win their league and Jacksonville State did. Yeah, Georgia State did beat Baylor outright in 2015, but Georgia State had an NBA player on that team who pretty much carried them. Yeah, Notre Dame and Rutgers is on Wednesday. That'll be interesting. Iowa's going to upset Kansas. If they get that far, they absolutely can. Can I see Auburn getting knocked out before the second weekend? Yes. I think USC matches up very well. Which team with the most NBA talent will do the worst? Memphis. What is that sound I keep making? Probably my allergies are driving me nuts right now. Probably my nose. Yeah, San Francisco will be favored. Scott K's right. Auburn, if Auburn makes it to the Sweet 16, I actually think they can beat Wisconsin. I think USC is a tougher matchup for Auburn than Wisconsin is. Delaware beating Villanova. I mean, Delaware has some talented players, but Villanova's too good. Am I basing my opinion on stats or watching regular season game? Both. I pretty much have all teams' stat profiles memorized, and I watched a lot of regular season games. Yeah, Villanova has had some close calls in the first round before. In 2009, they were a 3 seed, and they were down by 15 to American before the refs bailed them out. That's the thing. Villanova, back-to-back years, 2009, 2010, they had double-digit second-half deficits to American in 2009 and Robert Morris in 2010. Both games, Villanova rallied by going to the free throw line like a billion times. So that's how they do it. If Villanova finds themselves trailing Delaware in the second half, the refs are going to bail them out. It happens all the time. Robert Morris should have upset Villanova in 2010, but the refs, I think Villanova scored their last 10 points in regulation against Robert Morris at the free throw line to force overtime. And then Robert Morris clanged a 3 at the buzzer in overtime, and they lost. I disagree with Brendan Baker. I think Jacksonville State belongs over Bellarmine. I know Bellarmine won the conference tournament, but Jacksonville State won the league outright. They beat Bellarmine twice in the regular season, and they had a higher KenPom rating by far. Yeah. It's either to be squeezing the bottle or my nasal passages being ultra stuffed. Akron could surprise the Bruins. Akron has some talent. Akron has talent. That's not the question. The problem is UCLA has more talent. The team that's going to make UCLA struggle is physical teams that bang them around like a Baylor. I'm not sure Akron's that team. I mean, Akron beat Toledo and Kent State at the 3-point line. They didn't do it by being ultra physical and points in the paint and all that. They did it by making a bunch of threes. Nope, there is no threshold. There's been Georgia in 2001 got in with a record of 16-14, so there is no magic number. Do I think Tennessee can win it all? No. Do I think they can make the Final Four? Yes. But like I said, Arizona and Villanova are very tough roadblocks. And even Illinois. Here's the thing with Illinois. I know I've talked a lot so far about Chattanooga beating them, but Illinois has Kofi Cockburn, and you cannot defend that guy one-on-one. You pretty much have to double team him. And any team you play where you have to double team somebody is going to be tough. So Illinois definitely, I would not count them out at all. It's just that I think that the Arizona, Villanova, Tennessee are all so good that Illinois is kind of getting lost in the shuffle. And Houston's a tough 5. So who do I think? Give me a 3-game upset parlay in the first round. For money line, I would go with New Mexico State. New Mexico State. New Mexico State. If we're talking about pure upsets, wow. New Mexico State, Davidson, and that's the thing. San Francisco will be favored. New Mexico State, Davidson, and Loyola. UCLA making another Final Four run. I just think Baylor is going to be too much for them. And if they make it past Baylor, Purdue, or Kentucky, it will be too much for them. Reasoning for USC over Wisconsin, I just think Wisconsin is something tells me they're missing something. No, I think LSU will beat Iowa State. I've watched Iowa State this year. They're not very good. Murray versus San Francisco. I like San Francisco there. I think Murray's going to be caught looking ahead. But I say that every year. When Wichita State was opposite Kansas and when Loyola was opposite Illinois, the committee does this a lot. When Xavier was opposite Ohio State, whenever a team is opposite another team that refuses to play them in non-conference, I always say they're going to get caught looking ahead, but they usually win. But Murray State is definitely going to be caught looking ahead to Kentucky because Kentucky refuses to schedule Murray State in non-conference. They refuse. Murray State will finally get their crack at Kentucky if they beat San Francisco, and you have to wonder if they're going to be caught looking ahead. So, there you go. Any first-time tourney entrants? Longwood is, I think, the only one that got in for the first time. Can Nova beat Arizona? They absolutely can. Underdogs do always need to hit threes, and it's a double-edged sword. Can Yale upset Purdue? Yale made some lucky shots this morning against Princeton. I don't think Yale was the better team today. Princeton was the better team. It's just Yale made some lucky shots. And they still only won by 2. And honestly, Princeton totally bungled their final possession. Yale, I don't think they can beat Purdue. Do I think SMU should have made it? No. They should have scheduled better in non-conference. Yeah, I would definitely take the field over Gonzaga. Duke has so much talent, but their defense is going to kill them one of these games. Davidson could beat them. What first round matchup do you think I have wrong? Probably Vermont over Arkansas. It's just I didn't want to pick complete chalk. I don't want to be a square. So I had to pick something. Yeah, I think Davidson matches up very well with Michigan State. That would be a fun game, Davidson and Duke. That would be a fun game. Thoughts on the 5 seeds? I think UConn's a weak 5 and New Mexico State's a strong 12. New Mexico State probably should have been a... Actually, no. I think I would have swapped New Mexico State and South Dakota State, but UConn's a weak 5. St. Mary's is a weak 5, in my opinion. Iowa's a pretty strong 5, and Houston's a strong 5. So that's my opinion on the 5 seeds. Richmond's a good team. It's just that I think Iowa's a good team too. Why is the Pac-12 so undervalued? The Pac-12 needs to do better in non-conference play. That's what it all boils down to. Yeah, I think Iowa -10 over Richmond sounds about right. Maybe -8. Did Tom Brady really unretire? Or are you just making that up? Can Delaware beat Villanova? I think Delaware can hang with them for a half, but I don't think they can beat them. Like I said, the refs always bail out Villanova in the tournament. Thoughts on Colorado State? I think they can beat Michigan, but I think Tennessee will be too much for them. Duke can win it all, but I hope they don't. Yeah, I mean, does Duke have the talent to win it all? Yes, but they don't have the defense to win it all. You got to have at least somewhat decent of a defense to win the NCAA tournament. Thoughts on Virginia Tech? I think Texas will beat them. That's a tough matchup for Virginia Tech. Texas does a good job defending, unlike Duke. Yeah, ACC was beyond overrated this year. Beyond overrated. How does LSU do without a head coach? I don't think it's really going to matter. I think LSU is good enough to beat Iowa State, but I think beating Wisconsin in Milwaukee will be tough. And that's the thing about Colgate. If Colgate was playing Wisconsin in another state, then I would probably say, hey, Wisconsin's on upset alert against Colgate, but they're going to play them in Milwaukee. And that's the thing with these first-round NCAA tournament games is that the neutrals in the crowd will pull for the underdog and turn it into basically a road game for the favorite, but that's not going to happen with Wisconsin and Milwaukee. The crowd's going to be pro-Wisconsin, and that sucks for Colgate. Here's the thing, is Purdue playing in Indianapolis? I didn't catch that. Like, if Purdue's playing in Indianapolis, that makes it even tougher for teams like Yale and Texas. So Tom Brady did unretire. Is he going back to Tampa? Would I take Gonzaga or the field without other 1 seeds? I would still take the field. What first-round underdog do you feel most right about? New Mexico State. What do I think about St. Mary's versus Wyoming or Indiana? I think St. Mary's matches up very well with Wyoming. Indiana would be a little bit tougher for them. So Indiana can beat St. Mary's. I don't think Wyoming can. What made me pick Kansas to win the whole thing? They're playing very good team basketball right now. They have a pretty favorable draw in terms of their region. And that's how I see it. Team basketball. Thoughts on Ohio State? I don't think they're going to get past Loyola. That's a tough matchup for them. Purdue's in Milwaukee. Okay, if they were in Indianapolis, that would have been a different story. But Wisconsin's in Milwaukee too. That's just not fair for Colgate. What are the talking heads saying on ESPN? I turned it off. Are they all anti-Wyoming or pro-Wyoming? Yeah, I think Wyoming's going to be like that's kind of like an underdog versus, that kind of reminds me of St. Bonaventure when they played UCLA in the first 4 back in 2018. Like, everybody was pulling for St. Bonaventure there over UCLA. I don't think Virginia Tech's going to make a run at all. They're going to lose to Texas. I definitely, what low seeds do I think could go on a run? Davidson. New Mexico State can definitely go on a run. The game times will come out later tonight, probably by 9 o'clock Eastern. Do I see Texas Tech mating I think Texas Tech would beat Gonzaga if they played. They just got to get by Duke. Am I exhausted? Yeah, the chat usually doesn't move this fast, but this is always my most viewed stream of the year, so I was ready for it. So the ESPN talking heads are pro-Wyoming. That's surprising. I'm surprised Jay Billis isn't tearing his clothes over Wyoming getting in over like Wake Forest or something like that. I'm gonna turn it on, actually. I want to see what they're saying. My favorite thing about the ESPN bracketology show is they like spend like 30 minutes breaking down a Elite Eight matchup that doesn't end up happening. Like I remember one year I watched it, they like spent like 2 entire segments breaking down a Duke-Syracuse Sweet 16 matchup, and then Syracuse lost to Vermont in the first round. It didn't end up happening, and they were like at each other's throats arguing over Duke and Syracuse, who was going to win and everything. Like they spent all this energy on it, and it didn't even end up happening. Oh yeah, Seth Davis is definitely going to be pro Wyoming on CBS. Davidson over MSU, I think so, yes. Dickie V says Tennessee should be a 2 seed. Yeah, I probably would have put him as a 2 over Duke. Yeah, Kansas usually struggles as a 1 seed. Circa's going to be quick with the openers. But I think game time's really... Yeah, Jay Billis is usually a pretty big shill for the power conference teams over mid-majors. He always is. I think the only time I've ever seen Jay Billis talk positively about a mid-major was when Cornell made it in 2010, and he actually called them making the Sweet 16 that year, and they did. So but ever since then, he's... What's the team closest to Arizona TCU has played this year? That's a great question. But yeah, Kansas probably. Santa Clara. Santa Clara beat the crap out of us. But that's because Santa Clara they made 10 of their first 11 threes, and they just got out to such a big lead that we just couldn't come back. But I'm trying to think of teams in the Big 12 that are similar to Arizona, and I can't. Because Baylor, no. Baylor, no. Texas, no. Texas Tech, no. Kansas, yeah, kind of. Oklahoma State, definitely not. Oklahoma, no. There's really no Big 12 team outside of Kansas that's really in Arizona's ballpark. And in non-conference, LSU is kind of close. Yeah, Arizona's tough. That's as a TCU. I was hoping I knew we were going to be an 8-9 matchup across from a Gonzaga, Arizona, and I was hoping it was going to be Gonzaga. But let me look at Arizona's stats. So, you know what? Rebounding, we might have an edge in rebounding. They're not a great defensive rebounding team. They don't really force turnovers, which is our major weakness as a TCU fan, is turning the ball over. But, gosh, that's a tough offense to go against. They are so good on offense. Basically, if we're going to beat Arizona, we have to rebound and not turn the ball over. Davidson is similar. Yeah, I think Davidson can make a run. Who are they interviewing right now on ESPN? That's Ed Cooley, yeah, Providence coach. Seth Davis calls every upset. He thinks every game's going to be an upset. Right now, my biggest upset is probably Vermont. But if I had to pick a 14 seed, it would be Colgate. But they have to play Milwaukee. But I just don't see any of those 14s winning. Same if I had to pick a 15, it'd be Jacksonville State. But if you're looking for like a major upset this year, like UMBC or Norfolk State, something like it's. I don't think this is the year. I mean, I understand you hate how the ACC is treated this year, but they didn't really. Oh wait, yeah, I think the ACC was not that good this year. And I mean, you saw that. Virginia Tech is an 11 seed. I mean, they're not getting that much respect. Man, those 6-11 matchups suck. Outside of Texas, Virginia Tech, those are all pretty lousy. I don't see any of those 11 seeds winning. If I had to pick one, though, it'd probably be Michigan. No, I'd probably... Rutgers or Notre Dame can beat Alabama, but I don't see any of them happening. Houston versus Arizona. That's a bad matchup for Houston. Yeah, South Dakota State, I would keep an eye on them. San Diego State will beat Creighton, I agree. Iowa, Providence isn't making the Sweet 16. I'll be very surprised if they do. Yeah, Providence is considered the luckiest team in the country by the metrics. Arizona against TCU line. Let's see. You can kind of use Ken Palm to predict that. So Arizona's efficiency margin 27, TCU is 14, so that's a gap of about 12.5. Adjust for possessions. Yeah, a 9-point favorite sounds about right. 06 Newmox. Yeah, Providence is... Here's the deal with Providence is there's been teams like that in the past that get a really high seed when the metrics aren't there. They're going to take all this as disrespect, so they're going to be motivated for sure. Is Akron plus 15 against UCLA? Didn't I predict that? Didn't I say it was going to be like between 14 and 15? I do think Oklahoma was deserving. It's just who do you put them ahead of? I probably would have... Maybe Rutgers. Yeah, I think LSU will be motivated. So Michigan is favored by 2. Yeah, I figured they would be. Yeah, the 12 seeds are stronger than the 11 seeds by far. Yeah, the 12 seeds I look at the 12s and I look at the 11s. The 12s are better. You don't see that very often. I even think the 13 seeds are better than the 11s. I mean, a 16 seed has won once in 38 years, and this is not going to be the year it happens again. Colorado State or Michigan? Michigan's going to be favored, but I like Colorado State. Scott K is right. NBA prospects don't try in the turn. It depends, although. It depends on like what the team's goals are. If it's like a team with a lot of tradition and history where winning a title will just be another trophy in the case, like Kentucky or Duke, yeah. But if it's a pro prospect playing for a team, a program that doesn't have a lot of history, and it's different, they'll try. What is Providence favored by? My prediction was 4. Was I right? Or 3. I predicted 3. It's Providence minus 3. Boise State is a fundamentally strong team, which I usually will prefer over raw talent. So I like Boise State there. But Memphis is talent-wise is better than a 9. How are you doing, Big Short 08? Did Iowa State deserve to get in? Yeah. They played a tough non-conference schedule and did well in it, so you got to reward that. Thoughts on Illinois? What I said about Illinois earlier is that any team going against them is tough because you have to double team Kofi Cockburn. You can't guard him one-on-one, and that's going to make a tough matchup for anybody. But they could lose to Chattanooga. They could lose to Houston or UAB. So does Illinois have the talent to go farther? Yes. But MSU only 2 over Davidson. That's an even matchup. What's the Seton Hall TCU line? My guess was like pick 'em. Yeah, I want to know who has lines. Let me see if I can find some lines, and I'll give my thoughts. Like total gut reaction thoughts based on nothing at all other than my gut. So proceed with caution. Let me see if I can find something. Sorry, guys. I'm just looking on my phone to see if I can find something. So Arkansas is only favored by 5.5. I thought it was going to be 7. So Chattanooga's 7.5 against Illinois. I think I said 7 or 8, so that sounds about right. Loyola's -2 against Ohio State. That's right. I said they were going to be favored. USC -1.5 over Miami. Probably should be more. San Diego State -2 against Creighton. Yeah, Seton Hall -1. That's a pick 'em. Honestly, I think TCU at +1 is value. I think we're a better team. Georgia State +27.5. It got hammered down to 24.5, so that didn't last long. South Dakota State's 3.5. So yeah. UConn is 6.5. I would take New Mexico State outright. Colgate's 9.5. Wow, I thought that was going to be closer to 12. Wisconsin playing in Milwaukee though. You got to factor that in. You wonder if that line is assuming it's a neutral site game. It's not going to be. I remember 2004, Wisconsin was a 6 seed and they played in Milwaukee. And they played Richmond in the first round, and that was like a Wisconsin home game, and they won. And then in the second round, they played Pitt, the 3 seed, and it was like a Wisconsin home game, but Pitt ended up winning that game because Jamie Dixon, TCU coach, talks about that game all the time. He's like, we had to play Wisconsin in the second round of Milwaukee, and it was like a road game, and we won. Trying to get more lines for you guys. Can I go through the 8 and 9 seeds and predict? I don't think Miami's going to beat USC. Boise State, North Carolina, San Diego State, and TCU are my picks in the 8-9 games. I'm trying to find more lines for you guys. Yeah, if you guys have more lines, post them here. I don't have access to Bet365. Yeah. So, Trevor Barr, you know what Pitt game I'm talking about, right? The 2004 game against Wisconsin in the tournament. I've given my thoughts on Miami. I said that they're not going to beat USC. What's the Norfolk State Baylor line, Scott K? Seed below 4 to make the Final Four. Iowa, Michigan State, USC, Davidson. At Bet365? All right, let me go there. Because I'm interested to see what the Norfolk State Baylor line is. Is it higher than 30? So Indiana's a 3.5-point favorite over Wyoming. Texas Southern's favorite against A&M Corpus Christi. That's not a surprise. Longwood's at 16.5 now. North Carolina -2.5 against Marquette. Michigan -2.5 against Colorado State. UConn -6.5. Norfolk is 20.5. No, Norfolk's not that bad. They're actually decent for a 16, so still, I think they'll lose by more than 20.5. San Francisco's 1.5 favorite over Murray. So Vermont was 5.5, but they're at 6.5 on Bet365. Those are the only lines I see, though. I don't see anything more than that on Bet365. I think the real money to be made, though, is betting the which team will advance farther props. That's where the real money is made. That's where I made all my money last year. Okay. Wright State -1.5 against Bryant. I think Wright State wins that game by more than 1.5. Does anyone have a line for Iowa and Richmond. If anyone has a line for Iowa and Richmond, please post it. Iowa -10, that sounds... I thought it was going to be closer to like 9 or 8, but I guess that sounds about right. So DraftKings has a promo to where you can get Gonzaga +100 against Georgia State, but a max bet of $50. So that sounds like free money. Man, it's kind of warm in here. I'm going to take the sweater off. Whoops. Oh, no. My mouse. Oh, crap. This is... how do I put this back together? Oh, no. Is Jay Billis picking Miami over USC? I never would have guessed. Jay Billis will pick an ace. If an ACC team were a 16 seed, he would pick them. I can't put this mouse back together. Crap. I accidentally knocked it off the desk. Yeah, but I don't think any of those 11 seeds are really that good. How does this mouse work? Jeez. Did I break it? I hope not. This is an expensive mouse. Man, my mouse is broken. I knocked it off the desk and now it doesn't work. What do I do? I was hyped when Wyoming was announced because they deserved to get in and people thought they were going to be out. All right. Jeez, my mouse is broken, guys. How do I fix this? There we go. All right. All right. I like Boise. I hope Boise State wins. I'm going to be pulling for Boise State against Memphis. Jay Billis picked Miami over USC. I'm not surprised at all. They haven't done the NIT yet. When do they start announcing times? It doesn't usually come like within an hour or two after the bracket's out. All I know is that we're playing on Friday. I hope we're playing it in the morning instead of at night. Greer is right. Weak teams that overachieved in conference tournament, a.k.a. Virginia Tech, a.k.a. Akron, a.k.a. Yale. Pretty much all the 15 seeds outside of Jacksonville State fit that mold. Texas Tech's -13. I predicted they were going to be like 12.5 over Montana State. That was my prediction. Yeah, St. Bonaventure. I would fade them in the NIT too because they had such a high expectations coming into the year. They're not going to care about the NIT. I mean, they were projected to be they were a top 25 team to start the year. They're not going to care about the NIT. Does Purdue play on Friday or Saturday? Looks like they're playing Friday. So this is Friday, Sunday. And these are Thursday, Saturday. Lowest seed to make the Final Four. Iowa can do it if they have low seeds. Iowa can do it. They can beat Kansas. I mean, and I don't think they would fear Wisconsin because they played them, and Auburn's just such a weak team away from home. I think the Iowa-Kansas winner will make the Final Four. One conference tournament easy. New Mexico State did a pretty good job there. Vermont, South Dakota State. I mean, they didn't exactly blow out North Dakota State, but they closed at the end. Chattanooga did not win easy in their conference tournament. Longwood had a pretty tough games. They won in their final in a blowout, but their semifinal and quarterfinal were very close. Colgate easily won their conference tournament. Yale was not the better team this morning. They were not. Montana State had some close games. They had a close semifinal game, but they won in a blowout last night. Fullerton had some close games. St. Peter's. Once Iona was out, it was obvious St. Peter's was going to win the MAC. Jacksonville State, we all know about them. And Delaware, it did not come easy for them. All right. How far does Houston make it? I could see them losing to UAB, but Arizona's going to be tough for them. I do think they would beat Illinois. So, Sweet 16. Yeah, I think Tennessee. I love Tennessee. I do, guys. I like Tennessee. They just got a tough 2 seed, a tough 4 seed, a tough 1 seed. Oh, man. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this stream for. I've been on for 2 hours now, so that's how many people are still watching. I don't want to tune you guys all out. Oh, I still have 185 people watching. Jeez. What was my peak? Jeez, I peaked at 1,000. That's nice. Those sports grid idiots don't have much to say about that. Yeah, Houston did not beat a quad 1 team. You're absolutely right. I don't think they lost to one either. So, and UAB, they're good. They're good. Although Middle Tennessee had them. So Norfolk State's getting some action. Yeah, since San Diego, we're probably going to be playing late Friday afternoon or Friday night because it's the San Diego region. Wright State -1. I would take Wright State at 1.5. Yeah, Middle Tennessee had UAB. UAB had a pretty miracle comeback against them. But then UAB took care of business yesterday. Let's see. If I had to predict game times, I know they're not out yet, but I'm usually pretty good at predicting them because I know how I've sat in before. on how they make those decisions, having used to work in the TV industry. They like to put the 1 seeds on in prime time. I know it's stupid because it's like, why put blowouts on prime time? But they usually like to put 1 seeds in prime time. So I'm guessing Arizona is going to be playing Friday night, and so will TCU, which sucks because there's some people that I want to watch the game with. They're like, I can watch it with you at any time other than Friday night. And so I'm guessing not all the 1 seeds are going to play in prime time, though. They're going to put Duke in prime time. So I guarantee you Duke is going to be the CBS 7:15 game on Friday night. Guaranteed. You can take that to the bank. And then Michigan State Davidson will be one of the last games on Friday night. That's going to be the last game. They usually put 4:13 and 5:12 games on during the day. I don't know why. If I had to guess, Arizona and Wright State I'm going to guess TCU and Seton Hall are going to be playing on Friday night at around 7:40 Eastern. They also like to put big-name NBA player prospects on primetime as well. They're going to want UCLA playing at night on Thursday. I could see... I'm looking at the I guarantee you that Friday, Sunday pod with Alabama, Rutgers, and Texas Tech, Montana State is going to be during the day. I'm pretty sure Alabama, Rutgers will be one of the first games on Friday. Or Alabama, Notre Dame. I could see the Iowa, Richmond, Providence, South Dakota. I would not be surprised if Providence, South Dakota State is the first game of the entire first round. Like the game that starts off Thursday. They usually like to put East Coast teams on first and then the West Coast teams later. I could see Houston, UAB or Illinois, Chattanooga being the game to kick off Friday's games. Hold on, I need to go blow my nose, guys. My nose is stuffed. Copyright police, you are gone. Man, I was stuffed. Yeah, I mean, it used to be a lot different. Back when it was just on CBS, it mattered more, but teams that play at night versus the day, it is what it is. Kansas is probably going to play during the day. If there's going to be a 1 seed that doesn't play in primetime, it'll be Kansas. I could see San Diego State and Creighton being one of the first games on Thursday. I could see Gonzaga, since they're playing in Portland, I could see Gonzaga, Georgia State, or I could see Boise State and Memphis being that. They usually have what's called like a matinee game, which is a West Coast pod that plays like at like 3 Eastern, and I could see Boise State and Memphis being that game on Thursday. What's the other game in San Diego? Is it Texas Tech and Montana State? So yeah, I think Texas Tech, Montana State will be one of the first games. Will be the first game in the San Diego pod. So this is just total speculation, but I pretty much know how it works. We'll probably have game times, I would imagine, by 9 o'clock Eastern. Go ahead, Log Gamer 1012. I'm going to put together a poll. Do you see a team seeded 14 or worse winning a game? Man. I think this is a pretty good bracket, though. I think this is going to be a fun tournament. There are some years where I'm like, this bracket sucks. Like, they did a bad job, blah, blah, blah. This is not that year. I think they did a good job. Is the NIT? Scott K is the NIT guy. Scott K is the NIT guy. I wonder if, the 1 seeds the NIT are going to be the 4 they showed on CBS, right? Dayton, Texas A&M. Was it Dayton, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and SMU? Those are going to be your 1 seeds in the NIT. So I'm guessing North Texas will be a 4 seed in the NIT. They usually put those mid-major teams that were like good. They usually, unless they're in the first 4 out, they usually put them as a 4 seed. Like, Cronin, I remember him losing in the first round at Cincinnati to Harvard one year. I see Yale beating Purdue. Yale did not impress me. I know they beat Princeton this morning, but they made so many garbage shots, like contested garbage, end of the shot clock shots that just totally broke Princeton's spirit. That's not a recipe for success. I call it the bull crap. There's teams every year that make the NCAA tournament that won a conference tournament on what I call bull crap. Stuff like that. A team that wasn't the best team in their league was an upset winner in their conference tournament by making bullcrap shots. And Yale is one of those teams this year. I do feel like this is going to be a chalk year. I agree with it's Nick. I do see this being a pretty chalk Elite Eight. So Log Gamer has Davidson. Okay, I see. I see what you're doing, Log Gamer. So you think Vermont's going to make a run. So do I. I don't think they're going to make a run. It's more of the fact that, I don't like to be that guy who picks all chalk. So I had to pick somebody. I'm not going to pick all chalk. I haven't done a bracket pool in a while. I'm not just a big fan of doing it. But I used to, when I did do them, I had a rule. I had to pick at least 113, at least 114, at least 115. That was my rule. Yeah, Purdue, talent-wise, should have been a 1 seed this year. They underachieved. Purdue had so much talent, too deep at every position. No, being a 3 seed is crazy based on what they had. So definitely underachieved this year. Honestly, as a TCU fan, just winning 1 game would... I have never... In my lifetime, TCU has not won an NCAA tournament game. So just winning 1 game would be enough for me. Oh, we're in the South region? So if TCU were to somehow make it to the Sweet 16, we would be playing in San Antonio on my birthday. Yes. My birthday is March 24th, and the South region, San Antonio. I would definitely go to that for my birthday, no question. But I don't think we're going to make it that far, but I would definitely go there on my birthday. Can I explain? K-Bono 100, the Final Four is usually in April. It used to be all in March. I remember in 1999, the championship game between Duke and UConn was on March 29th. I know that because that's my younger sister's birthday, and I remember watching it during her birthday party. Can I explain what first 4 out and first 4 in means? First 4 out was the 4 teams closest to the tournament that didn't end up getting in. And last 4 in is just the final 4 teams that made it into the field. Auburn's minus 16 over Jacksonville State. I think that's disrespect to Jacksonville State. They're a good team. Relative to... It's all relative, but they're decent. I mean, a 3 seed is good, but Purdue, based on their roster, I know they lost a lot of games with the buzzer. Yeah, I know Purdue lost a lot of games with the buzzer this year, but they talent-wise, they could have easily been a 1 seed. Man, Jay Billis picked all 1 seeds in the Final Four. Reese Davis has Iowa in the Final Four. South Dakota State's not going to make the Final Four. I don't think that would happen. Purdue's minus 15.5. That sounds about right against Yale. Yale is 156. Yeah, I mean, Princeton was what, like 100? So Princeton was a better team. The thing with Princeton is you have these teams like them that dominate their conference by being a good 3-point shooting team, and then it just takes one bad shooting game in their conference tournament to be bounced. And that's what happened to Towson, and that's what happened to Princeton. Towson was another one of those teams that made their living during the regular season shooting threes, and then they just had a bad game against Delaware. Houston minus 9.5. That's interesting. How far will Caitlin Clark take Iowa this year? I don't know. I don't watch women's basketball, but I don't even know. Are they doing the women's selection show now? They sure are. Loyola minus 1.5 or plus 1.5, taking heavy money. The women's selection show, I don't know anything. I used to pay attention to women's basketball only because I used to do a lot of work with TCU women's basketball back in the day, but I don't pay attention to it anymore. I just think it's funny. I remember like 20 years ago, they used to have the women's selection show before the men's, like an hour before the men's, and they do it this way now because they just felt like they were giving token coverage to it. Faith Oloye, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah. I mean, it seems like the year where you're like, Kansas is really going to go far this year is when they lose early. And then they'll make a run when people expect them to lose early. I'm not counting Memphis out. I just think they're a 9 seed for a reason. Yeah, they have a lot of talent, but they just haven't been able to corral it. Yeah, TCU women are... I'm honestly surprised we're not going to fire our coach. Like, she's been there for 7 or 8 years and has not made the NCAA tournament once. And it's not like she inherited a bad program. The program was an NIT program when she came in. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I'm not counting Memphis out. I just think that they're a 9 seed for a reason. Everyone keeps saying, oh, they're so talented. They're so talented. Yeah, but if they're so talented, why are they a 9 seed? Explain Marquette getting in? I can't. I mean, them and Seton Hall just kind of seem like they're there to be there, right? Like, you can't really explain why they're in, but they're number 47 on KenPom. They played a strong non-conference schedule, which the committee likes. They don't have a bad resume. How's TCU football looking? I have no idea. I mean, talk about a total wild card. What team 5 seed and higher has the best chance of Final Four national championship? Iowa. I'm not really a believer in any of the 6 seeds. USC, Iowa and USC. That's pretty much it. Iowa and USC. There's no like UConn, maybe Michigan State, but there's no like UConn in 2011 or Kentucky in 2014 that you can look at and be like, you know what? They have potential. Seton Hall -1. Yeah. The Greensboro region in a this women's selection show. The Greensboro region. Hold on. Where is Marquette on here? Explain Marquette getting in. Okay, I will do. Let's look at their resume. South Carolina against Howard and Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word. Who else thinks Virginia Tech can make a run? I don't. I was saying last night, I was like, yeah, they just won the ACC, but winning the ACC tournament this year means nothing. Like, I say that because the ACC was weak this year. Look how many ACC teams got in. Not very many. Duke, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Miami. So what, they got 4 teams in? And one of those wouldn't have even gotten in if they didn't win the conference tournament. That's how bad the ACC was this year. So Marquette, they beat Illinois. They played a very good non-conference schedule. They had 5 quad 1 wins. So Illinois has won, Providence, Villanova on the road. Villanova on the road. They swept Villanova. There you go. That's why Marquette got in. It's not even a mystery. Not even a mystery. I want to look at Seton Hall's resume, though. Marquette swept Seton Hall as well. I mean, Marquette has a tournament resume. But I don't think Virginia Tech's going to make a run because they won the conference tournament of a bad league, okay? UT Arlington is a 14 seed in the women's tournament. I think that's funny just because they're down the street. All right, Seton Hall. Michigan was a big one at the time. They beat Texas at home. They beat Rutgers. They beat UConn at home. Creighton at home. Creighton on the road. So, honestly, they had 6 quad 1 wins, but on the road, it seems like most of what they did was at home. So, honestly, this isn't, I don't know. Man, there could be an Iowa State matchup in the Sweet 16 of the women's tournament. I don't even know why I'm watching it. It's because I didn't turn the TV off. Yeah, Alabama does have a high ceiling, but I think there's a reason they struggled this year. Usually you are what your record says you are. It's very rare for that to be an exception. Yeah, I think Texas matches up well with Virginia Tech, though. Virginia Tech's not going to get wide open looks like they were getting against Duke because Texas actually plays defense. We'll see what happens in the Seton Hall TCU game. South Dakota State Providence total is 148. That's pretty high. I'm just waiting for game times to come out. By the way, one of my roommates at TCU, Tom Hogue, is in second place at the Players' Championship right now. He was my roommate my sophomore year at TCU, and we didn't really talk to each other much because He played golf. I played football. Like we were more like suite mates. Like we each had our own private room and we shared a common area and bathroom and stuff. And we didn't really see each other much, but we were roommates. All right. I trust you. It's Nick. I mean, I know TCU a lot as well, and if we can not turn the ball over and if we can rebound, those are the two keys. If we can do that, not turn the ball over and get offensive rebounds, we'll be fine. All right, how many people are still watching? 131. Still a lot of people watching. But I'm kind of running out of stuff to talk about, though. So I ran 9.5 miles before this, and then I ate some pasta afterwards. So that's why I'm thirsty. The Bridgeport region, NC State versus Longwood and Mount St. Mary's. Does anyone care? That's the question. Does anyone care? I'm not trying to knock on women's basketball. I'm not. I mean, I used to pay attention to it a lot because I had to for work. Thoughts on the Big Ten tourney? You know, I always wonder how much the teams in tournaments like that actually care. I do. Like, bubble teams are going to care. Yeah, like Indiana's going to care because they're a bubble team. But how much do if there's not anything really at stake, it's like, how hard are you going to try, especially on a neutral floor? Oh, man. Jacksonville State upset. Like I said, if I had to pick a 15 seed, that's who it would be. But it depends on what Jacksonville State team you're going to get. Oklahoma and Iupui. That's a nice house that the Oklahoma players are in. So Iupui was the worst men's team this year. How to use line movement to make picks. I mean, it's kind of hard to do that. Some people chase steam, but that's not going to win you money. The Kansas and Arizona region will play each other in the Final Four, and then the Gonzaga and Baylor region will play each other in the Final Four. Right now, my winner's Kansas, but that was just like my initial gut reaction pick. I mean, I might change it between now and Thursday. Like initial gut reaction, no research or stats at all, just total gut. Indiana and Charlotte. Yeah, Chicago State, all things considered, had a pretty decent season. They beat New Mexico State. Yeah. That might have been the upset of the year in all of college basketball. Man, where do these people come from? Seriously. How many points is Longwood going to put up? They shoot a lot of threes, so it depends on how well Tennessee can defend the three. Kentucky and Princeton is a matchup in the women's tournament. I remember that NCAA tournament matchup back into 2011 where Princeton should have won. But Brandon Knight bailed Kentucky out at the end. I think Kentucky won by a point, and Brandon Knight hit a go-ahead shot with like 20 seconds left in that one. Man, where do these people come from? Why would anybody go to that webcam website? Yep. Appreciate anyone who subscribes. I do appreciate it. I don't think SMU got robbed. I think the moral of the story is play a good non-conference schedule. Waiting for game times. Murray State, only 2 losses. I watched Murray State this year. They'd never impressed me. They had some nail-biter wins against some bad teams. I think they got outplayed against Morehead State in the OEC final. That's the thing. Can they beat San Francisco? Yeah, they won't beat Kentucky. Two double-digit seeds that can make it past the first weekend. New Mexico State, Davidson. New Mexico State and Davidson are probably the 2 that jump out to me. North Carolina going around. I mean, let me look at their stats. I know last year North Carolina is a very good rebounding team, and that's one of Baylor's weaknesses. Let me check out North Carolina's stats. All right, where's North Carolina? So, are they still the same team from last year that was an offensive rebounding hoss and shot the 3 well? If they can do those 2 things, then they can beat Baylor. Otherwise, they're not going to make a run. Michigan and Colorado State on CBS. Well, the first game to tip is always the furthest east pod. So North Carolina offense. So they're not the rebounding team they were last year. And 3-pointers, maybe. I don't think they'll beat Baylor. So the Greensboro and then Buffalo. So the Buffalo, who's playing in Buffalo? UConn and New Mexico State and Arkansas and Vermont. Like the Buffalo games are going to tip off first. Where's Providence playing? They're playing in Buffalo. So I could see I think I predicted that Providence and South Dakota State was going to be the first game. I could see that or UConn and New Mexico State being the first game to tip on Thursday. All right. You know what, guys? I appreciate everyone tuning in, but I think I'm going to call it a night. I have some things to do, and I'm running out of stuff to talk about. And I've been on streaming for 2.5 hours now, so I think I'm ready to call it quits. But thanks again, everybody, for tuning into this stream. It was fun. I'm glad for the thousands of you who showed up. And no bird feeder cam this year. I'm not going to do that. So I'm not going to do any streaming, at least for the first round, maybe the second round. But thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I might come out with some videos giving some thoughts on this tournament. But if I don't, then I will see everybody next time. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it.